Hi everyone, I'm back. Did you miss me? I missed you guys lots. So it was an absolutely fantastic cruise. I had so much fun, guys. But it's lovely, lovely, lovely to be back. Just to let you know, we'll be back to these fortnightly live lessons now. So right through every other Wednesday, you can join me for another live lesson, which is going to be super exciting. Thanks, Nikki. Thanks, Joe. And of course, we'll also be back to our Monday canic peelers as well, every single Monday night, starting this coming Monday, which will be really, really exciting, hopefully. So, yeah, hope you're all doing well. It was a terrific cruise. Really, really nice bunch of people. Fantastic islands. Really, really hot, actually. But we've come back to spring, which is nice. My crocuses are out. Hi, Barbara. Hope you're doing well. And Squidger Squirrel is busy feasting on nuts, and it's all good. So fantastic. It feels like I'm a bit out of the habit. It'll probably take me a while to get used to normal life, but it's been fantastic. Yeah, I sent it your way up on purpose, Anthony. Fantastic. So today we're going to learn about picking patterns. I'm going to go into a lot of detail on various picking patterns. We've got them tabbed out and everything. This kind of came from a really good idea that Karen had when she was helping me with the Canterpillar sheets, about kind of drawing out picking patterns. And she's just devised some brilliant sheets, which is going to really, really help with that for sure. So what I'm going to do is go through the picking patterns that basically I find most simple, easy to learn, and of course really useful as well. Thanks, Anthony. It was really good fun recording those videos. We just literally just sat out on the balcony with a bottle of wine, and Sharon recorded me, and all was good. The only thing is the sea was quite noisy in the background, wasn't it? I didn't quite realise until I watched it back how noisy it was. Hi Stephen, hi Victoria. Hope you're all doing fantastically well. Just to let you know, the next live lesson in 2 weeks' time, we're going to be taking a look at Moon River. This is one I looked at a couple of years ago, I think it was, and we learned a lovely chord melody version of this. And what we're going to do is we're going to take another look at it, but I've developed some new worksheets which show you how to create the chord melody step by step. So that's going to be in 2 weeks' time. Can't remember the date off the top of my head, but 2 weeks today, Moon River chord melody. So come and see us. Colorado represents. Love it. Fantastic. I'm a little bit jet lagged today. So if I say anything stupid or I appear oh, thanks, Rebecca, or if I appear tired at any point, you know what's going on. I thought I caught up on sleep last night, but then I had a little nap this morning, which turned into like an hour's sleep. So I'm still not quite 100% with it. We got delayed on the way back. We were meant to come straight back, but we flew via Atlanta, missed a flight, and had to be put up in Atlanta for the night. And it was freezing. All we had was shorts and t-shirts. So that'll learn us. We'll have to make sure we've got some nice clothes after that. If anyone's interested, the next cruise is up for sale. If anyone wants to come, remember you haven't got to pay the full amount now. You can book early and save money with some savings there. We're going to be on board a new boat, the Celebrity XL, which is really exciting actually. And this is going to be February 6th to the 14th. Lovely itinerary including Florida, Bahamas, Charlotte, Amelie, St. Thomas, and Antigua. So all sorts of fun places we're going, which will be great. All of the details of this are on the events page on my website, so check it out. And I think I mentioned before I went away that we've got Sore Fingers happening as well, so it's definitely going ahead now if you've signed up, and if you haven't, come and join me. We're going to have a whole week in the south of England learning ukulele together every single day, which is going to be fantastic. Hi Jude, what a lovely profile picture of you. That's absolutely fantastic. I hope you're doing well. Love the pink hair. I had pink nails at one point. I've only got a yellow and a blue one left now, but that's what happens when you get bored in a hotel room with your 13-year-old daughter. She ended up painting my nails. It was actually quite useful because it allowed me to show people which fingers to put where on the cruise, so maybe I'll keep it, who knows. So let's get going today then. Hi Leslie, hope you're doing well. 3 feet of snow, oh my goodness. So let's have a look at what we're going to do today then. So basically in the sheets, you can still download these on the website. If you're a member, you get them for free. If not, you can buy them from my pay hip for £5. And it has all of these patterns tabbed out, and I'll explain how to do each one in the meantime. It also has some nice chord progressions which I put together to think about how to practice these. So it's not just dry, you know, it's actual chord progressions that you can use to practice, and some advice as well on the first bit. I hope the sunshine comes your way, Louise. I'll blow over to the west and hope it comes over to Ireland. Okay. So what I do is I go through each one, but let's just have a look at some of the basics. I'm not just going to read this out like a PowerPoint presentation. We'll actually do this with some songs in a minute, but just so we've got the basics to go through. So what we'll do with this workshop is really think about the fingers that we're going to use, why we use those, which order, and we'll put things together one part at a time. Every strum pattern will sound slightly different depending on the song that we put it on. Some will sound kind of jazzy, some will sound swingy, some will sound kind of more folky. So there's all sorts that we can use for different progressions. When you're practicing these at home, it's really important not just to launch into a song. So I've got little bits of advice here. So the first is, when you're learning a strum pattern, to actually clap out the rhythm. I do this a lot when I'm learning, say, a classical piece of ukulele and I'm learning the tab. And you know, you have all the crotchets and quavers, and sometimes it can be complicated. Sometimes rather than, no worries, you're here. Sometimes rather than actually launching straight into it, I'll actually just tap them out. So for example, what you can do when you're learning these, and this is a great way to learn even if you don't have a ukulele on you, you can literally just tap out the rhythm. So for instance, what I call straight 4 in this first one that we've got over here. By the way, ignore the notes. That's just if you're playing open strings, it's the notes that you could use. The only reason I put the notes on is sometimes people like to think in crotchets and quavers or whatnot. But really all you're doing is following the patterns down the bottom. So you can see the first pattern, we've got 4 beats in every measure. So that would be a really simple 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. You can try this with me if you like. You can either click your fingers, tap your body, clap your hands, tap your uke, whatever works. So 1, 2, 3, 4. The next one, notice we've got straight 8s. Excuse me. So 8th notes are twice as fast as quarter notes at the same tempo. So we can think of that as just doubling up, and we count that as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Do you see what I mean? And you can work through all of these just tapping them out first, and we'll do it as we learn it as well. One more, here's a slightly more complex one. If you look at measure number 9 down here, the one on the left hand side, where it says ragtime style pick. Notice we've got 2 long notes, those are crotchets or quarter notes, and we know that because they haven't got a flag at the top. And then we've got 4 quicker notes. So we could count that as long, long, quick, 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 long, long, quick, 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 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3 and 4 and. So whenever you're learning these patterns, think about tapping out the rhythm first. That's going to be really important because the key is really making sure we've got the timing right. That's super, super important, isn't it, when it comes to finger picking? The next thing I would do would be just to practice a pattern without any musical chord progressions whatsoever. So for example, let's go for an easy one. Let's just go for the straight 4/4 time here on the left. What I might do is, rather than actually physically picking it out of chords, I'm going to chuck the strings. So I'm just going to put my fingers on the strings and Don't touch, don't press, just touch very lightly. And then with this hand, I'll pick out the pattern. Again, I'm going to go into these in a lot more detail in a minute, but let me just bring this over. But this first pattern would simply be 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And because I'm not thinking about changing chords, I can really relax into it and take my time. And you'll want to do this for every one of these patterns to kind of bed them in so you feel really comfortable without having to do chords, okay? And then when you've got that down, what you can then do is maybe choose 2 very simple chords like C and A minor, and then start changing. Fantastic. So what we'll do is we'll do that with each one. I'll go through some of these patterns. We'll actually practice doing those as we do it. That's going to be really important. So that's kind of like 1, 2, 3 here. Then you can put them to a more kind of interesting pattern. So C, A minor, F and G, for example. And as I say, your last few sheets are lots of examples of these. So you can try them in different progressions and different contexts and see how they sound, which is a really great way to practice these. Let's just bring a few of your comments on screen. Rebecca was just asking, is there a reason that I use Tima rather than Pima? Are they just different names for the same idea? Rebecca, absolutely. Yeah, simple question is yes. So Tima and Pima are 2 ways of describing the same thing. And I'm glad you mentioned that, Rebecca, because I'd almost forgot to mention that. Oh, hi, Karen. I didn't see you there. Hope you're not too under snowfall over there up in Canada. Good to be back. Good to see you. So let's go back to our first page. What do we mean by Tima and Pima? So basically, picking patterns come from Spanish classical guitar. A lot of these patterns we just transfer over, and therefore a lot of the kind of the precedents that we use are the same. And in Spanish, our fingers named pulgar, that's Spanish for thumb, indice, medio and annular, that's Spanish for this ring finger. So pulgar, indice, medio, annular. So we would call the thumb P for pulgar. I probably pronounced that horribly wrong. I for indice, M for medio, A for annular, and you would associate those fingers with particular strings. So when we talk about Pima picking, what we tend to mean is that the thumb takes the top string. Thanks, Charlene. Your index finger picks up on the C string, your middle finger picks up on the E string, and your ring finger picks up on the A string. So P-I-M-A, P-I-M-A, Pima. Now, some guitar and ukulele books more recently have started using Tima. And this is the kind of trying to think of the word, the initials that I'm going to use today. The only reason I like Tima is it kind of just makes sense that we've got T for thumb. Okay, so we've got thumb, index, middle, and I'm still going to call this one A for annular. I don't know why I've mixed it up, but that's just what people generally do, call this one A for annular, even though in kind of English we tend to call it our ring finger, don't we, or our forefinger. So Tima, thumb, index, middle, ring. Exactly the same as Pima. The only reason I do that is that T is a little bit more obvious for thumb, and because your thumb is going to be key to this, we're going to talk a bit about that in a minute. I've gone for T rather than P, but yeah, they mean exactly the same thing. So let me show you an example of this, because this is really important. Notice that we've got these Tima, or these letters could be written in various orders down the bottom here of the page. Now, some of these are just suggestions. You don't have to follow them religiously at all. Hi, Sandy. Hi, Charlene. You don't have to follow these religiously at all, but they're my kind of recommendations for which fingers to use on which string. Some people, as you'll see, like to vary these up, and I'll give you some options of that in a minute. But just to explain it, let's have a look. Let's have a look at, say, our straight 4/4 time that I've got for the first one. It's saying T, I, M, and A. Okay, and we can see we've got the first 0 on the G string, so that's going to mean thumb on a G string. Remember, tablature, just to be awkward, is upside down, right? It's like we've turned our ukulele upside down. So the lowest line in the tab is actually the string nearest your eye, is the G string. So thumb. And then notice we've got a 0 on the C string. That just means this one open. We've got 0 on the E string, and notice we're using middle finger. And then just to be confusing, I've called it A for annular, but we're using our ring finger on that A string. So thumb, index, middle, ring, or annular. Okay. So you'll notice that later on some of that gets a little bit more tricky, and that's why this teamer can really help with your thumb patterns. So again, I'll go through these in a lot more detail later on. But for example, let's have a look at this one here that says alternating thumb. Okay, so that's about 2/3 of the way down your, 3/4 of the way down your sheet here. It says alternating thumb measures 11 and 12. Well, if you look here, notice that it's a little bit more complex. Again, I'll go through this in detail later on, but it's telling us to use our thumb, and the 0 is on the C string. So that means we start with our thumb here. Okay. And then can you see, and the next one is telling us to use our middle finger on the A string, that's this one. I'll come a bit closer so you can see it. And our first finger, index, on the E string. And you can see that because the I is below the M in the indications. So we've got thumb on the C string, and then these two fingers on the E and A string. Okay, so it's just to explain the kind of concept behind it. And then notice the next part, we've got thumb on the G string, and then we're going to pinch up with these two as well. So thumb, pinch, thumb, pinch. Okay. So that's what those indicate. Now, some people do this slightly differently, and that's okay. It's okay to mix this up. And as I mentioned, the general conventions, these can be really messed about with. But the general convention is we either use the thumb, index, middle and ring in that order. Thumb, index, middle and ring, like so. Okay. Or some people prefer to use their thumb on a G and the C string, and then they use their index and middle on the next two, like this. Now, there's no right and wrong. The only reason I like this one is it means that the fingers are already in the right place. They haven't got to move very much. The thumb only has to move out to pick this string. Index, middle and the ring finger are there in place. They've just got to pull up. There's also various ways that we can fingerpick in terms of the attack and things like that. We're not going to talk about that today. This is all going to be just about patterns. But just to go through general good practices when we do fingerstyle. Notice that my uke's at a 45-degree angle, as I talk about with all of my playing. That allows a really nice, comfortable position here across the strings. It also means that as my nail, and you can do this with the pad of your finger if you don't have a nail, but as my nail passes over the string, if I come crazy close, notice that the string kind of ramps along the nail. If I do it in slow motion, can you see that? Whereas if I'm attacking it this way, it sounds a little bit more harsh because the strings come straight off the nail. So having this 45-degree angle gives a nice warm pick, which is really, really lovely. I like to anchor my finger on the soundboard when I play. Some flamenco players say that you should have it away from the ukulele so it doesn't affect the tone. I don't find it affects the tone on any of my ukes to do this. I like it anchored in place. But you can do without or with, that's absolutely fine. That's not a problem. The key thing to notice is that I've got a nice arch on my arm, and that is important because if we flatten down like this, so we come across this way, what's going to happen is, as well as muffling some of the soundboard, you've got the risk of, especially if you're wearing sleeves on your finger, of actually dampening the strings by accident. You see what I mean? So make sure you've got that nice arch on your fingers as we do the finger picking. And finally, because of my long nails, I tend to play over the sound hole, because then I can really dig in. You might see me come up a little bit higher for this video, just because you can see my fingers easier the higher up I go. But that allows me to play without the fingerboard kind of interrupting my playing. But you can play up here if you feel more comfortable. This is where I generally pick. Sometimes I'll alter that. Sometimes I come down here for a really harsh attack. If I want that banjo sound, if I want a really smooth sound, might come up this end, so you can mix it up a little bit as well. Okay, let's just go back to those simple tips before we do our first pattern then. I've got this note here down the bottom, and this is really important. A really useful rule of thumb, literally. Okay, now sometimes people get lost when they're doing finger picking patterns. Let's go for a really simple one again. No, let's go for a slightly more complex one to make it a little bit more tricky. Let's go for this let me think, actually. Let's do this alternating thumb pick, because that's a really nice one to really indicate this, okay? So you might get kind of lost with which fingers are where, and you might get lost in your picking. So what I say is always think about which string the thumb's on, and you'll find that the rest kind of follows in place. It's a really neat tip. So for instance, if my fingers have kind of got out of place on this pick and I've got a thumb up here, or I'm down here, I've kind of come out of position. Once I get this thumb in position for this first pick, notice in this case, it's on the C string, isn't it? Look how my fingers, they're almost dying to come up in the right place underneath. So if I'm doing this and I accidentally hit a wrong string, like that, don't panic, just go back to concentrating and making sure that thumb is on the right string, and that will really help you with playing. It even affects the really simple picking patterns like top to bottom, the straight 4/4 time. Say I accidentally kind of get out of order and my thumb comes down here, just concentrate on getting that thumb back on that G string and think about that as your musical heartbeat. 1, 1, 1, 1. Okay, so use that as like your grounding rhythm, and to find your place, that thumb is going to be really, really important in your playing. Okay, let's see if we can play some of these, and I'll show you how to play them, and I'll bring some songs in to keep it in context. I haven't printed off all of the songs, just because otherwise your packs would be absolutely epic with all the songs printed off. But remember, if you're a member, and I think nearly all of you will be that are watching this, every single song that I use today, and in fact pretty much every song I ever use, will be available for you at no extra cost on the tabs and resource page. If you're not sure where that is, just on my website, go to Learn. It's on the top menu, Learn, and then just scroll down and you'll see tabs and resources at the bottom. And every single one of these songs has come from there, so you can find it, so you'll have it. You won't need it for today. Today, what you really need is this. This is going to be your key. This is going to be the most important thing. So should we get going? Let's go with the most simple pick of all, just a standard straight 4/4 time. The reason this one works beautifully is that it's a really simple 1, 2, 3, 4, one note or one pick per beat, which is really, really easy to follow. So let's have a look. We're going to hold our uke at a 45-degree angle. As I say, we're going to pick roughly over the sound hole, and we're going to pick with a teamer pattern. That means thumb on the G string, index on the C string, middle on the E string, and then your ring finger on the A string. Okay, to practice it, remember we're just going to mute the strings here, so we're not going to pick anything here. And with this hand, we're just going to pick G string, C string, E string, A string. Now remember, in our last live workshop all those weeks ago, we did a whole lesson on practice without practicing. You know, those little kind of things that you can do to practice if you haven't got much time or you don't have your sheet music with you. Well, this is a great one for that. What you could do is just sit in front of the telly or radio and you could literally just pick through 1, 2, 3, 4 and just practice getting those thumbs really nice and consistent. Same with the fingers. Okay, now let's try it with open strings. Okay, now one of the things that's really important when you're finger picking is to get consistent tone and volume with all of these fingers. So what you don't want is one string to come out much louder than the others, like this. Because that will make it quite unbalanced, particularly if that note isn't the first note. It'll sound a bit funny. So make sure you've got that consistent volume and tone. Now that's going to be really important, particularly with this thumb, because all of these fingers are pulling up with roughly the same strength and in the same position. They're going to be consistent. But this one, however, because you're using the pad or the nail of your thumb, it's likely to be quieter or louder if you really catch that nail. So really concentrate on making every single string roll play with the same volume. Okay, fantastic. Let's practice that with a couple of chords. Let's practice that with a normal C major here and an A minor up here. Okay, so let's do 4 picks on each of them. It'll sound and look like this. Does that make sense, guys? I think you probably get this one really easy, so I'm going to move this a sec so you can really see what I'm doing. So thumb, index, middle, ring. Notice that each of these is for one beat. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is nice for a song in a really slow tempo, something simple. So something like Stand By Me, where it's the same chords over and over. This isn't one that I've got to bring on, but let me show you. I think the chords are really, really easy for this. They just go C, G. Nope, they don't. A minor, sorry, that's it. A minor next. Sorry, guys. F, G, back to C. Keep playing with me. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Keep it going, guys. When the night is dark and the land is dark, can't quite remember the words, and the moon is the only light we'll see. Keep it going. No, I won't be afraid. No, I won't be afraid. Just as long as you stand by me. You get the idea. I won't go on and on. You get the idea. So you can play that. The chorus is the same. Darling, darling, stand. Same notes in exactly the same order. Now, here comes the important thing, and hopefully you'll really like this. You know how I like to be kind to my students and to myself. It's really, really important. The key thing for this, and this is like when we went back to our strumming when we very first started, if you did any of my beginner lessons, be kind to yourself. And this is so important. Allow yourself to go wrong with this hand. What do I mean by that? Well, I'll show you what I don't want first. The worst thing you can do when you're practicing this is this. Big gap between the chords. And that's not me being mean, it's actually being kind. The reason being, if you put a gap between the chords, it's not because it sounds bad, it's because you're going to teach yourself to play out of time with this hand. You're not going to build up that constant metronome, and it will sound really awkward and you'll get really frustrated with yourself. I know this to be true because I did it, right? That when I was learning. So what you want to do is be kind to yourself, and even if your fingers aren't ready for the next chord, no matter what, keep picking with this hand. I'll show you what I mean. I'll give you an example. So if I was to pick that song, and I'll purposefully muck up the chords with this hand, okay? Here it comes. And I might not be on that string straight away. Did you see how I kind of had a gap? I wasn't quite on it. You'll hear it here. So it's not going to sound perfect because your chord isn't down clean, but it means that you're practicing consistency with these fingers. That's so important in your learning with this. And it's the same when it goes with your strumming, in fact. If you're strumming and you pause to get to your next chord, it's going to really not help this hand develop rhythm. So be kind to yourself. I'm giving you permission. It doesn't matter what we're doing with these fingers. If you go wrong, it doesn't matter. It's all about this hand. The only reason we're changing chords and practicing at the same time is to build up that muscle memory and really to have something to practice, so you're not just doing the same thing over and over. Okay. Now here's something interesting. Did you notice that when we played that picking pattern, that on a high G uke, the lowest note that we can play on a high G uke is this C note here, this open C string. So actually when we do this pattern in high G, we're going high, lowest, higher, higher, high, lowest. So we get this high to low. Now I quite like that in high G because it really pings that G string. Ping, ping. Now on a low G, it's really cool because what happens with that, and don't worry, you can do this on either high G or low G, all of these patterns. What happens on a low G uke, here's one, is that first note is the lowest note that we can get. Lowest, higher, higher, highest. Okay, so on a low G you have the lowest note to the highest, right, as we play through this Fingerstyle pattern. And that can be really nice to have the low to high. So what do we do about that when we're on a high G if we want that kind of feeling of going from low to high? Well, what we can do is we can flip this pattern to what I often call the inside-outside pattern. This isn't on your sheet because it's a variation of the pattern, but it's really easy to learn. Let me show you. So what we do, rather than playing top to bottom 4 times, like so, we're going to do the inside 2 strings first. And I like to use my thumb on the C string and my index on the E string. Okay, you'll see why in a minute. Then I like to use my thumb on the G string and my index on the A string. I'm just doing this with a C chord. Inside, outside. Can you see why I named it inside, outside? C, E, G, A, inside, outside. Okay. Now I've got the same rhythm as I was doing before. 1, 2, 3, 4. But now I'm going from the lowest note on my uke, 1, 2, 3, 4, to the highest note on my uke. You could play this using your 4 fingers like so. But I love this kind of cycling through of these two fingers because it keeps everything really simple and consistent. So you could do the same thing. Let's try that chord progression again. C, A minor, F and G, and we'll do Stand By Me. Come in after 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Stand by me, whoa, stand by me, darling, stand by me. Hi Vicky. Stand by me, stand by me. Whenever you're in trouble, won't you stand by me? Oh, stand by me. Whoa, stand by me, stand by me. Okay, so that's the simplest of all picking patterns that you can do over any song that's in common time, 4/4. And it works really, really beautiful in a slow tempo song. It works just perfectly. Rebecca's just saying, does it work if one person plays Tima and another person plays Inside Out at the same time? It's a great question, because technically you'll have two notes that clash. But because you're still playing the same chords, I think it will still work because those notes will harmonise. As long as you're playing the same chords, it should be okay. It should be okay. And often I'll actually do some of these picking patterns whilst people are strumming and doing all sorts, just to add something. So it should work, Rebecca, but try it and see if you like it. Some people like that harmonisation of two different notes at the same time. Others don't. So have a little experiment. And whether you do the straight Tima or the inside outside is entirely up to you. What I suggest is doing it with a few progressions and see what works best. Karen, just refresh your browser. That should do it. So let's have a look at what if a song has a bit more of a higher tempo, that kind of quick time feel where it feels like it needs something extra. And sometimes what we can do really, really simply, I know it sounds daft, but really simply, we can just double up that pattern. So where it says straight eights, that just means a pick every eighth note. And that just means an eighth note is just an eighth of a measure. So basically we pick 8 times a measure rather than 4. Again, don't worry about the notes. Those are just representing the strings that we're picking. So G string, C string, E string, A string, G, C, E, A. But concentrate on these down the bottom. You'll notice we're going to do exactly the same thing, only this time we're going to do it twice per measure. The best way to count this, I find, is rather than 1, 2, 3, 4, count this with the ands in between. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now this will work exactly the same with inside outside if you wanted to. You literally just double it up. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay. If you find it tricky, what you can do is just start slow. Just practice it a little bit faster each time and see if you can get into that regular rhythm. Remember, lock your ears to this G note, the note that you're hitting with the thumb. That will allow you to know when you're on 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and so on and so forth. Okay. Now this works really beautifully with songs that are a little bit busier, that have those straight 8s. Something like Lewis Capaldi's Someone You Loved. I'm going under and this time I fear there's no one to save me. Notice a bit more busy than Stand By Me. Let's bring that on screen so you can see it. Remember, this is in your tabs and resources, but this is easy to play anyway. It's the same chords over and over, so you'll soon get it. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to do that 4/4 times picking pattern, but we're going to do it twice as fast. It gives us that straight 8s, we call it. And we're going to do that twice on every chord here. Okay. I'll explain as I play. So we're going to play C, G, A minor. Don't worry if you go out of rhythm, just lock in with that thumb and start again. And just keep that going round and round. Okay, really lovely way to play straight eights for this one. You could also do inside outside. Remember to allow yourself to make mistakes with this hand, that's really important. So even if it sounds like this, you're not on the chord quick enough, that's fine. Remember, this is all about whichever hand you finger pick with, whether you're left-handed or right hand. Concentrate on the one you're finger picking with. Let's try that. Let's try that through some of this song, Someone You Love by Lewis Capaldi. It's a great song. Just keep playing C, G, A minor and F with me. Okay, here we go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and I'm going under, and this time I fear there's no one to save me. This all or nothing really got a way of driving me crazy. I need somebody to hear, somebody to know, somebody to have, somebody to hold. It's easy to say, but it's never the same. I guess I kinda like the way you numbed all the pain. Now the day bleeds into nightfall, and you're not here to get me through it all. I let my guard down and you pulled the rug. I was getting kinda used to being someone you love. Okay, really sweet. So that's a lovely, lovely chord progression to practice this one on. And in your sheets, if I bring them on again, you'll notice we've got a very similar pattern to this in the back. Similar chord progressions, C, G, A minor, F, the start of that classic pop progression. So many songs use this progression. It's been used for years and years and years, so it will really help to build up your muscle memory as well. Shell saying, do you think it's okay to look at the strings when you're learning a new picking pattern, or should you start from the get-go by not looking and doing it all by feel? That's a really tough question, to be honest, Shell, and a brilliant question. I think it depends slightly on the person, because everyone learns differently. Some people are visual learners, in which case they might have to look at the strings to help. Some people prefer to learn by feel and touch. What I would say is, if you really struggle and you keep missing the strings, first of all, just keep practicing it. I know it's an easy thing to say, but I would look at the strings just to start off with. So you might kind of do this. Let me bring it in. You might find yourself leaning over slightly just to see, just to check you're hitting those right strings. When you feel that you're mostly getting it right and you're only hitting the odd bum note every now and then maybe just test yourself by gradually looking away. You might need to look to get yourself started and then see if you can relax and look away. A good thing to do is to try it just on one chord first without worrying about the changes. Get to a point where you can do what I'm doing now and actually have a conversation without looking. And then start putting those chords in, whichever chords you want to choose, okay? Eventually, of course, what the ideal is, you want to get away without looking at what you're doing. The trouble is, if you look too much at your ukes, it's kind of bad form because it's going to hurt your shoulder and your neck eventually. It also increases the temptation to kind of turn your uke this way so you can see what you're doing, but that's not good form for picking. It doesn't get the right nice slope on the fingers and everything. So see if you can practice it so much just on one chord that you can do it without looking. And you can do it a lot by feel, just really feeling for those strings and testing yourself. But short story, be kind to yourself. Yes, you can look in the short term, and then when you feel more comfortable, see if you can do it by feel. It's really, really interesting, right? Because we've got two different students here. Thanks, guys. And I didn't set them up for this, but it just shows everyone learns differently, right? So some people will get lost if they look at the strings, because it gets them in the muddle. It's another thing to think about. Whereas other people get lost if they don't look at the strings. So it kind of oh no, these are both getting a muddle if they look at the strings. Some people it's the opposite. Anyway, you get the idea. You get the idea. So everyone learns differently, which is a great thing to do. Some people you even practice just by tapping out on their chest or on their arms, something you can do on the bust. Just that 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Just so you kind of get used to moving the right fingers. But yeah, lots of practice on that one. One other thing that I think is really, really good to do. Oh, I love it, Barbara. That's great. It's good for your nails as well. If you do it on a hard surface, it actually builds up strength in your nail. I actually got taught that. Apparently, I know it sounds a bit sexist, but apparently it's an old secretary's trick. By tapping the nails on the desk, it drives people mad because you get this sound. But it kind of compounds the nails, apparently, and makes them stronger. So there you go. It's a tip I was told. I don't know how true that is, but that's what I was told. Now, one thing to do, which is really nice for this, is don't feel you have to play these patterns through a whole song. One of my favourite things to do is maybe do picking in the verses and then strumming in the chorus, and that creates a nice juxtaposition. So if you're using this one, again, it's available for free on the tabs and resources page. What I would suggest is when you feel confident enough, try finger picking the verses. And then when you get to the bit where it says, now the day bleeds, that bit's the chorus, then just go to a straight down strum. Down, 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 down. It'll sound really nice. I'll show you and you can play along if you feel ready. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and I'm going under, and this time I fear there's no one to save me. This all or nothing really got a way of driving me crazy. I need somebody to help, somebody to know, somebody to have, somebody to hold. It's easy to say, but it's never the same. I guess I kinda like the way you numbed all the pain. Now the day bleeds into nightfall, and you're not here to get me through it all. I let my guard down, and you pulled the rug. I was getting kinda used to being someone you love. I'm going under, and this time I fear there's no one to turn to. Do you see how it creates this really lovely juxtaposition of going to strumming and then coming out again? It sounds great. The one bit of advice for this is when you come out of the strum, give yourself a bit of time. So finish a beat early. Don't go 1, 2, 3, 4 and then straight into it, because it's tricky. So notice and that gave me a beat. And then remember, find your place with the thumb, because that grounds you. And then notice when my thumb's in the right place, all of these fingers fall into place, which is great. So that's a lovely way you can try that really standard 4/4 time pick, common time pick. Let's make things a little bit more interesting then. Let's have a look at some picks that work in a bit more of a complex way, just in case you want something a bit more interesting. Now, here are two very similar picks which work really well in 4/4 time. They look slightly unusual, because if you have a look at the first one where it says there and back again pick, it kind of looks unusual because it's like a wave going up and back, but then there's like a mini wave afterwards. And that's really, really important. That's great, Suzanne. That's brilliant. That means you're really getting music ready and thinking about that dynamism, which is fantastic. So this first one, number 5, what we're going to do is we're just going to pick the pattern first. We're going to pick from top to bottom. That means from G string down to the C string. Okay, G, C, E, A. And then notice the pattern comes back on itself, E, C, G. I do that really slowly so you can see it. I'll lift my uke up. There and then back again. Thumb, index, middle, ring, middle, index. T, I, M, A, M, I, T. Okay. Now the only problem, because we've got 4 ukulele strings, you would think that this would be perfect timing for 4/4 time. But actually, because we're coming back, notice how many beats I get. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now that's not going to work, is it? 7 into 4 doesn't go. So what you have to do for this one is add an and on the back where we just ping the C string. I'll show you what I mean. There and then back again and then I start again. Let me do that again. There and then back again and then I go again. There and back again and there and back again and. Okay. Now what that means is you get this doubled up C. If I do that in the right order, it'll sound like this. Do you notice how I'm repeating those last notes? Let me do that again. G, C, E, A, E, C, G, C, and then I do it again. Okay, now the reason that's quite tricky is that we're not doing a kind of a perfect there and back again pattern. We've got to add those extra on the end. And you might think, oh, that's great, Trisha. You might think that that will sound really, really terrible, but actually it works really beautiful. Have a look at this. If I put it to the chords we're just doing, I'll come up here so you can see what's happening with these fingers. Isn't that lovely? Even though I'm repeating this G and C string, it sounds really lovely. I'll do that slow and then speed up. You can join in if you want. There and back again and there and... And the reason that fits in 4/4 timing is we've got 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. This is a trickier one and it does take a lot of practice, but you will get it with consistency, practicing on its own and then building up with the chords, which we'll just do in a minute. Do you think using a metronome would help to make it consistent? This is another, a lot of these questions, there's no right or wrong answers. The answer is yes, but I would practice without first. I use a metronome as kind of like, I'm trying to think, it's like a discipline thing, right? So when you want to get really perfect, using a metronome to sort of 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and it can be really good for making sure that you stay in consistent time as you play. The reason I say practice it without first is that using a metronome builds anxiety inside us. Some of the best players, in fact this is really interesting, I'm reading a book about REM and their first album, they'd been playing all these live gigs for ages, they were mostly self-taught. And then they went into the studio and they're put with this producer who tried to get them to play to a click track where it constantly has like a metronome in the background to keep you in time. And they couldn't do it. The music kind of lost energy. It brought anxiety into their playing. So it all felt a bit mechanical and tight rather than the looseness they normally played at. And their first album, Murmur, they actually ended up ditching that producer for various reasons, and they went with a new one. And the album had a more kind of raw live feel to it as a result. So sometimes that anxiety isn't necessarily a good thing. It's great for discipline later on, but I would practice without first, and then when you feel confident enough that it's not going to make you really tense up, then introduce the metronome. Yeah, it does to all of us, to be honest, Ian. And I've played in some bands where I've played with some really, really great players and the metronomes just really throw them. So it can be a good thing, but don't feel you have to straight away. Try without first. One of the things that I like to do is, I can't really highlight this very well here because I've got a rug on my floor, but I like to tap my foot as I'm playing. So I'll say where I'm tapping. I might do tap, 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 tap. So, you know, you're hitting that first beat with a tap. That can be a really nice way to do it to keep yourself in time in a more natural way. So let's see how we would practice this then. First of all, we would try it with the muted strum or muted pick. So put your fingers on the strings but don't press. And you would just pick in order. Let's go really slow. As you're doing it, even think about the noise that those strings make. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Okay. And then try it just on one chord such as C. Okay, that's really nice, isn't it? Let's try that then with the chords. Let's try once through that pattern on each one. C, A minor. Oh, sorry, it's G, isn't it? I'm on the wrong song now. Let me bring it in. Hopefully you've got that pattern in your head now. Let's bring it in so we can actually see. So C, G, A minor. Remember, allow yourself to go wrong if your finger isn't dead on. Let's slow that down. C, G, A minor, F, and speed it. Sometimes I'm going on. Sorry, I got the words wrong. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and I'm going under, and this time I fear there's no one to save me. This all or nothing really got a way of driving me crazy. Somebody to help, somebody to know, somebody to have, somebody to hold. It's easy to say, but it's never the same. I guess I kinda like the way you numbed all the pain. So on and so forth. Really nice, isn't it? I really like that picking pattern. I use that quite a lot, that one. So very, very nice one. Just having those two ringing notes, it breaks up the monotony of the pick, which is really lovely. So I use that in a lot of picking. And notice that kind of breaking up of the pick is really important because we need it for that time signature. What about here then? This one's interesting. We've got there and then back again. But this time we've got less notes. Can you see? We've got 3 quick notes, quick, 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 and then we've got a crotchet, one without a flag. That means we hold that for longer. And then we've got a quick note and a long note. So you can think of it as quick, 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 long, quick, long, quick, 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 long, quick, long. Yeah, I think you can count it as that. Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a really good way of counting, actually. There and then and back again and. Yeah, that works perfectly, actually. Yeah, yeah. Think about just kind of put in some phonetic kind of sentences that work for you, and really kind of think about that. So yeah, that's a great idea of counting it. There and then and back again and. There and then and back again and. Yeah, cool. So this one we're going to hang on to the A string down the bottom for a little bit longer. I'll show you what I mean. I'll come in close and I'll show you. So the first 3 notes are exactly as you're doing before. Only this time when I hit the A string, I'm just holding down the C chord again. When I hit that A string, I'm going to hang on it for an extra half beat. 1 and 2 and. Okay. And after I've hung on it for an extra beat, then I'm going to come back and hit the middle 2 in reverse. And I'm going to hang on that C for a little bit longer. When I show you, you'll see exactly what I mean. It's easier to show than to explain. This one does fit kind of phonetically with the words really nicely. Look, there and then back again, there and then back again, G, C, E, A, E, C. And because I'm holding on that A string, it means that we can just go up and down. You can see it like a perfect wave right here, because we're not having to make up those extra notes, which works really nicely. This one works really lovely on kind of some really nice kind of swung stuff. So this is Teach Your Children Well by CSNY, Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. Again, we've got really simple chords. I'm purposefully choosing songs that generally have nice simple chords on it. And let's just remind ourselves. There and then back again. Quick, 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 long, quick, long. Quick, 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 long, quick, long. Remember, if you're not sure, this is where tapping out helps. Quick, 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 long, quick, long. Quick, 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 long, quick, long. There and then back again. There and then back again. Okay, let's try that just on a C chord. There and then back again. There and then back again. That come even closer. There and then back again. There and then back again. Okay. You who are on the road must have a code that you can live by. C, F, C, G. Teach your children well. Their father's hell did slowly go by, and feed them on your dreams. The one they pick, the one you'll know by. Isn't that lovely? Works really beautifully. I kind of think of it as like bobbing along the sea, because it has that up and down thing. And like I say, you can really see that actually in the picking pattern. If I bring it in, sorry, let me just bring this over a sec. Don't know why it's gone right over there. There we go, that'll work. Okay. So we've got this wave here, there and then back again. Now let's have a look at some of these picking patterns, sometimes referred to as Travis picking. This was named after a musician, I think it was Merle Travis, who played guitar in a certain way where he kind of used his thumb to finger pick the top, the bass strings in effect, and then his other fingers to pick the other strings. And it creates this real nice kind of juxtaposition. Sometimes it creates almost like an alternating bass, which is really lovely. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you a couple of these and how to do them. They sound really effective. The first one I'm going to show you is this ragtime style pick, and I use this on a lot of material that I play. A lot of people use it for kind of blues stuff, you know, that kind of that kind of stuff, you know, where you kind of want that upbeat feel. It does work beautifully on pop songs as well, and we're going to do this over Teach Your Children Well. It works fantastically. Now, what I want you to notice is, in fact, almost all of the next few of these picking patterns, if you look at the notes that are just on the G and C strings, notice it goes G, C, G, C, G, C, or like in the next one, the alternating thumb, it goes C, G, C, G, C, G. And you can actually mix this up. If you've got a low G, you can go one way, high G the other way, or you can even do both on a high G. It doesn't really matter which way round you do it. It sounds absolutely fantastic. So first thing I want you to do, even though this ragtime style pick is way more complex than this, and I will show you the full thing in a minute, is just to get that consistency of hitting the G string with your thumb and then the C string of your thumb. And it will sound like this. I'm actually holding down the C chord, but it doesn't really matter because I'm only hitting the G and the C note. Do it with me. Imagine you've got tick-tock of a clock. Tick tock, tick tock. You can even practice rocking backwards and forwards with it if you like. Does mean you look slightly crazy if you do this on your veranda, but it helps keep time. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... So notice when I do this pattern, I'll show you the whole thing. Sorry. Even though I've got all these complex things happening, the thumb is still keeping this consistency. Da 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 da. See? Okay. So what we're going to do next is we're going to think of this as like little sections. First of all, we're going to practice the next bit where we pinch. This is where the teamer start signs can be quite important if you get mixed up. Again, they're suggestions, but it's what I find works really well for me, and hopefully you'll find the same thing. Let me come in really close then. What we're going to do is we're going to hit the G string with our thumb. Then we're going to pick the C string with our thumb, like when we were alternating. Only at the same time as picking that C string with our thumb, we're going to use our A, or our M. It can be either. You can either use those two, or you can use these two, which is what I like to do, thumb and annular. That's your ring finger. Okay, so you can do thumb, and then we're going to pinch. See how I'm pinching? 2 strings at the same time. Again, I'm holding down a C chord. Thumb. If I move these out of the way, don't actually physically do this and fold your fingers right back, but it's just so you can see which fingers I'm using. Okay, if you prefer, you could even use these, thumb and index. The main thing is the thumb is hitting both the G string and the C string. Okay, just practice along with me. Thumb, pinch, thumb, pinch, thumb, pinch, thumb, pinch. Fantastic. Now the next part is we're going to do what we call it's a roll, often called a banjo style roll, where we hit the 4 strings in a particular order, one after another, and each one is an 8th note, so a quick 2 and 3 and, or actually I should say 3 and 4 and, because that's where they fall. 3 and 4 and, all quick notes. And it doesn't even really matter what order you do these in, but I think this sounds great. We hit the G string, then the E string, then the C string, and then the A string. I'll do that again. G string, E string, C string, and A string. You can kind of picture it. It's these two one at a time, and then these two one at a time. These two, these two. And you can practice that doing that round. Look, you can even just do it with 2 fingers like this, or you can alternate which one you use. The key thing is that that thumb is using these two. It builds up the consistency. Now, this takes some practice. You might not be able to do this straight away, but if you put those 2 things together, look, thumb, pinch, roll, thumb, pinch, roll, ba 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 ba. Okay, thumb, pinch, 1 2 3 4, thumb, pinch, 1 2 3 4. And again, you can practice it slowly. And then build up your speed. This will work on high G and low G. Okay. If you don't believe me, just to make sure, let's try it on both. So on low G, that'll sound like this. Okay, it's exactly the same method on both. Now, as I say, this sounds great if you want to do that kind of ragtime style thing. That's why I've called it ragtime. Something like 5 foot 2 eyes of blue. You've got to go really quick for that. But something that sounds great is using it on pop songs. So what we'll do, let's bring old Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young back in. There we go. We're going to do it on this song. Okay. And what we're going to do is we're going to start slow on a C. We're going to do twice through the pick pattern. Let's do it. 1 2 3 and 4 and again. Now try it on an F chord. Remember to be kind to yourself. C, G, C, F, thumb, pinch, 1 2 3 4, 1, pinch, 1 2 3 4, thumb, pinch, 1 2 3 4. I'm going to up the tempo slightly just so you can hear it. You who are on the road must have a goal, whoops, that you can live by. Sorry, I just hit the wrong chord. So become yourself. I speed it up again. Da da da, da 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 da. How effective is that? Teach your children well. Your father's hell did slowly go by. Feed them on your dreams. The one you pick's the one you'll know by. Now, obviously, you're not going to be able to go that quick straight away. Maybe you can, but I think most people will find that really, really difficult. So as with all of this, remember, practice slow, speed up. Remember my practice without practicing? You can do this without any music at all. Just sit in front of the telly, lay back like I am, okay? And you can mute your strings and just practice thumb, pinch, 1 2 3 4, thumb, pinch, 1 2 3 4, thumb, pinch, 1 2 3 4, and practice it slow. And then speed up. makes you feel confident. Because this is tricky, I wouldn't even think about using chords until you can do that nice and confidently. Think of the thumb. Think of it in sections. Slow down. Thumb, pinch, 1 and 2, and thumb, pinch, 1 and 2, and okay. It's like anything. I often say, you've probably heard me say this a million times because I have these catchphrases that I don't even necessarily know that I'm using, but one of them is if you can play something slow, you can play it fast. So go slow, be kind, and then just gradually increase your tempo and you'll get it. And it sounds so cool. It's why people love Travis picking. It sounds like there's more going on than there actually is. It's very cool, isn't it? Very, very cool thing. Let's have a look at one more. And this pattern I love because this works beautifully in both common time and all sorts of waltzes as well, which is really fantastic. It's one of my favourite things to do. Is whenever I'm finger picking with a group, particularly kind of bluegrass and old time, I use this one a lot. And it's really easy. It's this one here, alternating thumb. So for this one, it looks way more complicated than it is. We're going to start off doing exactly what we did with the ragtime pick, and we're going to practice alternating our thumb between the C and the G string. Only this time, we're going to go C and then G rather than G and C. It ends up the same thing, right? Pretty much anyway. So we're just going to pick C string, G string, C string, G string. Just get that really consistent. Thanks, Jan. Karen, hope you feel a lot better soon. It sounds like you're having a bit of a rough day with your bloody nose. Thanks, Barbara. That's great, Shell. You've been really thinking about the rhythm. Fantastic. Okay, so you can just practice that going between the C and the G. Again, you can rock if it helps. Then the next part of it is we're going to put two fingers together. Technically, you could use any two fingers together for this. I find the easiest thing to do is just put my first and middle fingers together. Okay. And I'm going to pinch the E string and the A string at exactly the same time. I kind of like having my little finger here because then I can use it as a, is it a pivot or kind of, I don't know, like a, what do you call it? Like an, I've forgotten the word now, but it gives me like a, almost like a pivot point anyway. Okay. And what you're going to do is you're going to pinch after you've hit either the C or G string. I'll go really slow. C, pinch, G, pinch, C, pinch, G, pinch, C, pinch. And you can again, with this, start really slow. Imagine like a train leaving the station. And then you might start to build up a bit of steam. There we go. And eventually it will just lock in. This is what we're after. This is great for songs like, particularly folk songs, you know, like old Woody Guthrie ones, something like this land is your trying to get my pitch, let me just that's it. This land is your land, this land is my land, from California to New York Islands. If you want to join in with this one, the chords I'm playing are C, G, D, and back to G. So C, G, D, G. Okay, and I'm going to do each one of those for twice through the progression. Okay, it'll sound like this. G, D. How lovely is that? Simple but beautiful. And then what is it? Back to G, isn't it? This land is your land, this land is my land. From the redwood forest to New York Island, from the redwood forest to the Gulf Stream waters, this land was made for you and I. So on and so forth. Okay, so that works brilliant for that. The one that I was going to suggest practicing it to is a bit harder, so maybe that's actually the one. But if you wanted to try it, there's a nice I've got Bells of Freedom chiming. This works really well. Chimes of Freedom, sorry, which is a really nice one. So you would, this one starts with G, D. It's almost the same chords, right? G, C, G, C, D, G. Okay, and then let's just bring that in so you can see how that will sound with this pattern. You can just get, sorry. Far between sundown's finish, midnight's broken toll, we ducked inside the doorway, thunder crashing. That's quite hard thinking about it, isn't it, with that one? So you might want to start with this land is your land, this land is my land on that one. But yeah, just something nice and simple, and round and round and round would be good. Something like Wildwood Flower as well work really, really nicely with that one. And we call that an alternating thumb pattern because you notice the thumb is just alternating between the C and the G string. It's really effective. Now, what I love about this one is you can alter it to make it work for other time signatures, because you're just got to do the same mechanics, if you like, but just for different amount of times. So you know for this at the moment what we're doing, let me come in close again, is we're doing 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and thumb pick, thumb pick, thumb pick, thumb pick. What you can do is you can change it up so that we pick twice with our fingers, like so. Thumb, pick, pick, thumb, pick, pick. Notice I'm still alternating between the G and C strings. Exactly the same thing. But now I'm picking twice with these. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Now I have a 3/4 time pick. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. How neat is that? So I've turned a 4/4 pick into a 3/4 pick just by picking twice. This one works nice with things like, I think I had Annie's song. Let me see if I can bring that in. Okay, so this will sound like, let me just do a little bit of this so you can see. Any waltz this would work on. You fill up my senses like a night in the forest, like a mountain in springtime, like a walk in the rain, so on and so forth. Notice you've got that lovely 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Let me bring this out the way so you can see that. Okay, so I'm doing 1, 2, 3, 1, sorry, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, so on and so forth. Isn't that cool? Really, really simple. You could even do a more simple 3/4 time pattern. My Bonnie lies over the ocean. My Bonnie lies over the sea. See, it's just that 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, which sounds absolutely fantastic and works beautifully. This one I use all the time, like I say, because it works with 3/4 and 4/4 time, so waltzes and common time, which is a really powerful thing to do, which is great. You can even double it up and do it twice as quick, which gives you, basically you can use that for 6/8 time. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3. So literally instead of 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, I just go to 8th notes twice as quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. Neat, right? Really, really simple. Now 6/8 time is a great fingerstyle. It's a great time signature to use for finger picking because it fits perfectly on a uke. And you might think the opposite, right? You think 4 strings wouldn't go very well with 6/8 time where we've got 6s or lots of 3. But actually, it goes really, it works really, really beautifully. Thanks, Karen. Thank you. Thanks, Leslie. I had a quick question from Rebecca. So Rebecca's just asking, how do I decide which pattern to pick for songs? What I generally do, Rebecca, is think about the type of song it is. So first of all, think about how busy it is. So is it a really gentle, low tempo song? In that case, I might, and is it, what time signature is it in first? Actually, we should start with, shouldn't we? So is it 4/4 or is it a waltz? And then think about, is it really simple time signature? Is it a simple slow song, for instance? Then I would go maybe straight 4/4. Does it need that rolling rhythm where you've got lots of notes very quickly? Then I go straight 8s. If something has that kind of old time feel, I tend to go for that ragtime style pick. But as you've seen, I've used a few of these on the same song and they all work. So what you can do is you can either listen to the original and think what sounds most like the original uke, or in most cases guitar, what replicates what's happening on the record, or you just try them and see what works. And that's how I mostly do it. When I use these at Canacapila Mondays, for instance, I just kind of play around with a few and whichever sounds best, bam, that's the one I go for. So trust your ears on this and see what works well for you. But as long as you're doing one that fits the right time signature, you'll be absolutely right as rain. And notice we can alter them anyway. So yeah, as I was saying, 6/8 time songs actually work beautifully with finger picking. The reason being, if you do that there and back again, because we're in 6/8 timing, you don't need to do the doubling up thing on the thumb and first finger. Have a look at this. There and then back again, there and then back again. You can just go through that pattern on and on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And it works really well on high G and low G, but it works particularly well on the high G because the 2 pulses in 6/8 time are on 1 and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And because our highest pitch strings on the high G uke are on the outside, it really highlights that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And there are loads of songs that are in 6/8 time, more than you'd imagine. Norwegian Wood by the Beatles is a really good one. You've Got to Hide Your Love Away by the Beatles. One of my favourites, because it's just such a joy to play on ukulele, is House of the Rising Sun. This is one really funnily, actually. This is one. Oh yeah, Jude, absolutely. I missed you. Yeah, Slow and Steady to begin with. Exactly right. You got it. So House of the Rising Sun is one of those songs that you see a lot of uke groups do. And quite often I'll see a uke group playing it and I think, it sounds weird and I can't work out what's going on. And for ages I thought, why does it sound weird when people play House of the Rising Sun? And it's quite often because some people play it as a common time song, where I think it works best in 6/8 time, which is kind of like the original was. So for this one, you can do that picking pattern I was just showing. Each chord, it will look and sound like this. Let me show you if I come in close. So there and then back again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Try it out as we change these chords. Just have a go with me. If you're not sure, just have a listen, which is really, really nice. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There is a house in New Orleans they call the Rising Sun. See how it just rolls along beautifully. And it's been the ruin of many a poor boy. And God, I know I'm one. Okay, I do a whole lesson on this one if you're interested. I think it's on the intermediate course, and it gives you some ideas. So maybe on the third verse, after you've played that for choir, in New Orleans, then you can mix it up by straight H strumming. Only thing a gambler is a suitcase and a trunk. So you can mix it up, which is really lovely. Just so that I can show you guys, this also works really beautifully, this picking pattern on the REM song Everybody Hurts. This is really, really beautiful. I'll come to that in a minute, Tricia, because that's a really interesting question. I'll talk about that in just a minute. It came up on the cruise, actually, funny enough. So yeah, I'll talk about that in just a minute. Difference between 3/4 and 6/8. Okay. So this is really nice. So this one's just C and F for the verse. It's really simple, and we just play through this pattern there and then back again. And you're going to do that twice on every chord. And it really kind of reflects what's happening on the lovely guitar. When your day is long and the night is yours alone. When you're sure you've had enough of this life, well, hang on there and then back again, there and then back again. Don't let yourself go, 'cause everybody cries and everybody hurts. D and G minor there. Sometimes everything is wrong. Now it's time to sing along, and so on and so forth, right? Oh, thanks, Karen. Thank you so much. It's good to be back. It feels good to be back in the saddle. Absolutely. I've genuinely missed you guys. I really love these sessions. And you know how much I love Canacapilla as well. A beautiful, beautiful picking pattern that you can use in 6/8 time. Tricia had a really good question about the difference between 6/8 and 3/4 time. In some ways, for us as ukulele players, we don't really have to worry about it too much. It tends to affect other instruments. I mean, you can of course think about it as two very, very, very different time signatures, but at the same time you can think about it as the same thing doubled up. So I'll show you what I mean. So that one you can think of as 1 2 3 1 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3. But it tends to be in 3/4 time. It tends to be less rolling and a little bit more regimented. So in 3/4 time, you have 3 beats, and they're all for crotchets or quarter notes, so quarter of a measure. That gives us a really solid 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3. Notice the pulse is on the first beat of every bar, and a pulse is the same. 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3, 1, 2, 3. So there's one pulse every measure. What happens in 6/8 time is the notes are eighth notes, so at the same tempo. Ba, 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 ba. They're a lot quicker, and we tend to put the accents on beats 1 and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you can think of it as two lots of 3, 4, but it largely affects other instrumentalists, particularly drummers, because what happens with the drums, I like to give this example. Say you're a jazz drummer and you're playing 6/8 time, or rock and pop for that matter. They would tend to put a strong beat on beat 1. Maybe they would hit the floor tom, the bass drum or a tom, boom. And then on the 4, they would hit maybe a cymbal, bum, 2, 3, 5, 6, bum, 2, 3, 5, 6, bum, 2, 3, 5, 6. So the drummer can make a real big difference between 3, 4, because have a listen to this. Bum, 2, 3, bum, 2, 3, bum, 2, 3, bum, 2, 3, versus bum, 2, 3, 5, 6, bum, 2, 3, 5, 6. See how they're similar, but they have a different feel? It's a very subtle thing, 6/8 to 3, 4, 4 time. Generally, it just means we strum more on 6/8 in terms of the ukulele, because rather than just playing at the same tempo, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, we tend to strum 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's almost like the same thing doubled up, but notice at the same tempo it has like more going on basically. But, oh, no worries, Stephen. Really good to see you again. Really good to see you. Great to catch up with everyone. Now, just to finish off, because I've kind of overrun a little bit, I didn't mean to quite talk at you for so long today. Maybe it's because I haven't seen you all for a while, and it's really nice to catch up. But just in conclusion, have a go at each of these patterns, take it slowly, and the best thing to do is to experiment. So play these with all sorts of songs, and as the little mat says down the bottom, remember these fingerings aren't set in stone. You can alter the thumb up, experiment, and remember my mantra: if it feels good and it sounds good, it is good. You've got to see what works for you. But experiment, see what works. Try these different ones, and of course this isn't an exhaustive list. There are so many more combinations. If you think about it like a combination lock with those 4 strings, there's so many different orders we can put them in with little gaps in between. There's so, it's almost endless the amount of finger picking patterns you can use. But if you think of these as the basis, these are the most important ones to practice. That straight time will just give you your simple kind of running 1, 2, 3, 4, which works really well. The there and back is a nice flowing one if you want a kind of nice, almost mellifluous sound, which is lovely. If you've got anything really upbeat and aggressive, that ragtime style pick works brilliant for it, and variations of. And then if you want more of a lilting, folky thing, we've got our alternating thumb. And then finally 6/8. We got that perfect there and then back again. So if you use those as the basis of your practicing and then just alter them here and there, you can basically play any song in the whole wide world. And again, if you remember, check out that tabs and resources page. Just go to the top of my website, click learn, drag it down to the bottom. You'll have all the courses like beginner's course, intermediate, next steps, but right down the bottom there you'll see tabs and resources, and you'll have literally hundreds and hundreds of arrangements that you can choose from. Pick one, have an experiment, see what works best with it. Just lastly, something that I forgot to tell you earlier, and I think it's a nice thing to do. Remember, again, going back to that video I did about practice without practicing. A really nice way to work out which pick patterns work and to kind of test these is to try them. So you could either put the radio on, which is a really nice thing to do, or pick some of your songs on YouTube and literally listen to them and try. First of all, just think about the rhythm. Is it 4/4 or is it a waltz? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, or 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, or 6/8 time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Have a think about what the rhythm is. Basically, can you count to 3 or 4 on it? That's the main thing. Then try a really simple one. See if you like that. Try and get it in time with the song, and then start mixing it up, maybe twice as quick or something different. And you don't even have to change the chords. You could just mute the strings and practice these rhythms and see which ones work. It's a fantastic thing to do. I did think about doing that live like I did on the practice without practicing, but YouTube told me off for that because I played a backing track, which was a bit daft of me. I didn't really think about it, but of course it was someone else's music, so rightly so they said, oi, don't do that. So I'm not going to give you an example of that, but you know what to do. If you want to practice it, just stick YouTube on, stick the radio on, and have a play around with some of your favourite songs and see what works. Thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate it. Yeah, Hallelujah is a beautiful one, isn't it, Fran, for finger picking? It works just so beautifully. I totally agree with that. It's lovely. And the chords aren't too bad, are they, in the key of C? It works really nicely. Thank you. Thanks, Ranj. Really appreciate that. Thank you. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. Remember, I'll be back in another 2 weeks' time, and we're going to look at, I'm going to teach you a beautiful chord melody, Moon River. This was actually the first song that I ever properly arranged for chord melody, and I love it. It just works so well. The chords are really hard, but believe it or not, when you play it chord melody, because you're only playing 2 or 3 strings at a time on many of the chords, it's way easier, and it sounds fantastic and it sounds lovely. So yeah. Oh, thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate it. Remember, if you enjoyed this, you can join me every fortnight, every other Wednesday afternoon. We have one of these lessons, and it might be looking at a technique or a piece of music, or talking about uke history. There's all sorts going on. Thanks, guys. Thank you. Much appreciated. Yay! That's the thing that I love in teaching, is if we can demystify anything and just make it easier. That's amazing, because I want everyone to be able to do this stuff. It's so much fun, and it's like so empowering once you get it. So thank you. If you could give the video a thumbs up on the YouTube video, like Karen says, that would be absolutely terrific. That would really help me out. So thank you, guys. What else did I need to tell you about? Oh yes, of course, we'll be back with another Canacapilla on Monday. It's been a while, hasn't it? It's been a long time, but we're back for another one on Monday. We're back to our regular Canacapillas. That's where I teach you to play without sheet music, but we do have the music and lyrics there to help you as well. And we've got a new format starting on this Monday, where we're doing 2 songs at a time, but we're really digging into techniques a lot more, so I can expand more on how to solo picking patterns and things like that. We're going to look at in a lot more detail, so it's going to be loads of fun. So that's starting this coming Monday, and those are every single Monday that I'm here. So for most of the rest of the year, they'll be every Monday, which is going to be really cool. So I will see you then. Don't forget, if anyone missed out on the cruise and you enjoyed the videos and pictures, come and join me next year. It's going to be absolutely terrific. And if you check out that events tabs, you'll see that there's all sorts of stuff happening. In fact, as Anthony said, I almost forgot that. I need to put it on the events, don't I? I'm going to be playing and teaching at Southern Ukulele Store on the 28th of March as well, which is really exciting. So come along and see me there if you can. And you might end up with a new ukulele as well. Who knows? Oh, someone asked me about my ukulele earlier. I totally forgot. Sorry. This is a More Better. So it's made by Chuck Moore on the Big Island in Hawaii, and it's a koa ukulele made out of Hawaiian koa with a nice sap stripe down the middle. And Chuck's ukes are so light because he uses a carbon fibre patch under the bridge rather than wood, so everything's really light and playable. And this one he's such a genius when it comes to inlays. I've got another one that's even more intricate than that, but look at that with the palm trees. Isn't that cool? And it's not painted. Those are all different types of stone and woods that he uses to create almost that 3D effect, which is really cool. So more better if anyone's interested. He's an amazing builder on the Big Island in Hawaii. Well, I think that's everything I needed to tell you about. So join me in 2 weeks' time for the next live lesson, and of course I'll be back on Monday for Canacapilla. We'll have a good old jam. We'll have a whole heaps of fun for that. It's been so nice to be back, and it's been so nice to see all your lovely messages and likes. So thank you guys. I really, really appreciate it. It's great to be back in the saddle. We've got loads of this stuff to come. Oh, cool. Jan, I need to get it on my website. I kind of almost forgot about it for a while. So yeah. Brilliant, brilliant. I'll see you there. Well, take care, everyone. Much love, and I'll catch up soon. Bye.